Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream to Everyday Ergo. Well, exactly, it's not every day because it's only Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But actually, that's only for you. For me, it's every day. Anyways, today is Friday, so TGIF. I hope you also have Friday, whether it's morning, afternoon, or maybe late evening. And I think that's still possible. Anyways, we have some things to do. We've made a huge mess yesterday. Oh, no, it wasn't yesterday, it was on Wednesday. So we were trying to get the Bootmagic working and it didn't work. So my theory was that it's most probably because I am running custom coding engine. So that's why it's not really picking up. But this is something that we need to verify. But before we do that, I think I should show you how I compile QMK on Windows. Previously, I was complaining that QMK MSys is super slow, and it is. It is damn slow. Actually, it was killing me, and I couldn't stand it. And seeing how fast QMK can compile on Mac, for example, I decided to give it a shot and set up a virtual machine with Ubuntu Linux and set up QMK there, share the QMK folder via Samba, and then just copy my source code to the server, compile it over there, and then just get the binary uploaded to the keyboard. And actually, it seems to be quite fast. So before we start digging into the source code and fixing our mistakes from Wednesday and trying to get the Bootmagic working, I think I might share with you how to set up such virtual machine, and I can show you how it works. So maybe you can also benefit from it. Maybe it will help you as well. So let's get to it. So the first thing we need to do, assuming you are on Windows 11, probably Hyper-V, which is the Microsoft Virtual Manager virtual machine. I think it's also available on Windows 10. And to get it running, you have to press the start Windows Start and just type Control Panel. Sadly, you can't see it because my main monitor is different from the one that the stream is currently on. But as soon as you type it, you should be able to see how it looks like. The icon looks like this. I think the icon I can show you. Yeah. So once you start typing, you should be able to see the control panel. And this is when you hit enter. So let's do that again. Okay, so this is where you will end up. Beautiful windows. You have one control panel that looks like this, the modern one. And then you have another one that most probably, if you are like an older user, you will still remember it from, I think, Windows 7. Yeah, it even says here, Windows 7. So consistency in Windows Microsoft is just beautiful. But I digress. So once you are here, the thing that you need to do is to go to the programs and features. And over here, there is this option, turn Windows features on or off. So you get there and the window will pop up like this. And then you have to go to Hyper-V and just tick this option and then select OK. I already did that because it will ask you to reboot the machine after the installation is done. So I will skip this step. After the reboot, you can press start and type Hyper-V, and Hyper-V Manager should show up. And it looks more or less like this. So as you can see, I already have one machine running. That's the one that I was testing on. Apparently, I forgot to switch it off, but that doesn't really hurt anything. So this is how the manager looks like. And before we start, we should get Ubuntu ISO to be able to install the operating system. So to do that, we can go to Ubuntu website. Ubuntu, we can type download, and we can get Ubuntu desktop. Greetings, Barneu. Greetings. Okay, so just accept everything. You can choose the 2404 LTS and just download the ISO. I'm gonna skip this step because I already have it here. So the next step is to set up the machine itself. To do that, we should go into new machine and select new virtual machine. And from here, this first step is not really important. We can choose next. Here we can give it a name. Let's call it Ubuntu QMK. If you wish so, you can store the machine in a different folder. I prefer to keep it somewhere else than the default one. So I will just drop it on C, VM, create new folder. Well, actually, I can just go here and call it Ubuntu QMK. And that's it. So the next step, we can choose which type of virtual machine we want. I would suggest going with the generation 2 because we won't be needing support for 32-bit, and this is like the legacy stuff already. So we click next. Virtual memory, actually 4 gigs should be enough. I think even if we go lower, like 2 gigs should be also fine. And also we can use dynamic memory. So this will allow the machine to take more space if it needs. For the connection, we should choose the default switch, which will just give it the access to the network from the host machine. And this is like a summary. We have the size on the disk, I mean the size of the virtual drive, and technically this is all we need. The next thing, we can also choose the installation option, and we can install the operating system over here. We can either choose physical media if we happen to have a CD or DVD drive, which most probably we don't. I don't think anyone still has one in those times. But we have the ISO, so we can just browse for it. That's the one that we just downloaded, open it, and just hit next. So this is like the last step. It's showing us all the relevant info, where the machine will be placed, where the ISO is located, and so forth, so forth. So we can finish this. And we are here. Before we start the machine, we should go to the settings and change one thing. So security, we should disable secure boot. I tried some other versions, but none of them actually worked for the Ubuntu. So I guess I would just switch it off and hit apply. Besides, this is only like a local machine and it will be only used for compiling QMK, so I don't think we really need that much protection. Okay, so technically this should work. If we double click, it should start. Yes, so this is like a remote desktop. It's a bit quirky way for Hyper-V to connect. I would prefer to have it like in the other virtual machine, for example, VMware, where you can have like a true desktop, but you know, it's free, so can't really complain. Okay, we hit start and the machine should boot. And we should, yeah, see the installer. So we can try or install Ubuntu. It's gonna take a while, but since it's Linux, it shouldn't take a long while. Barneu, how is your day going? TGIF or still at work? Okay, here we can choose the language. So I will stick to US. This we don't really need. So the keyboard I will change to something that I am more familiar with. We can use the wired connection because it's still from the VM, so that don't really need, we don't really need to change anything. We can skip the update and just install Ubuntu. Don't need to, we're not gonna try it, we just want to install. We choose the interactive and default selection. We don't really need any of these, so we can just hit next. Yes, we can erase the disk. This will automatically set up the virtual disk for the machine, so we don't really have to do, we can do it manually, but that doesn't really change much, doesn't really help. And if you are not familiar with how the drives should be prepared for the Linux installation, then just skip it, just stick to the automatic. Okay, over here we can just choose QMK, the username. For the computer name, let's say QMK compiler, maybe. Username QMK is okay, and password we can also hit QMK since it's local. We don't need to type in the password at login, we don't need to use the Active Directory, and it's fine that the password is weak. So let's go. So this is the summary. We don't really care that much about this either. I just hit install and just let it do its thing. Also, I've been testing Chordie for the past 2 days. It works nice. This sensor that I got from AliExpress, it's quite okay. Actually, I like it. And you know, take into account how much it costs, and you don't have to really put any soldering into it. It just works. So I am very happy. But the issue is that the keyboard still crashes after some time. And I think this is some issue with the Chordie engine on the ARM. So this one we will have to investigate, maybe see what happens. I think if we set up some debug output, And if you're lucky enough to catch it while it's crashing, and then we can see what kind of output it shows. As far as I remember, I think some time ago I was able to trigger it while in debug mode, and what it showed was just like there's no connection between the left and right part. So that is very odd. I think there's maybe some kind of a overflow, which is rather odd, because since it was working on AVR, technically it should also work on ARM. So this is something very difficult for me to wrap my head around. And I don't think ChatGPT will be able to help with that either. So the worst case scenario is that we will have to go back to AVR, which is not an issue because AVRs are still available, very cheap, and we don't really have to worry much about it. And with those optimizations that I have put, there is still plenty of space left. So even if you need to add some more keys in the future, there is still plenty of options available. So it's not that bad. It's still gonna work, still be usable. Yeah, but that's later. First, we need to set up this machine and see how fast it can compile. From what I tried off stream, it was quite nice. It was very fast compared to PC. I also tried to compile the source code for Chordie, the one that we were editing on Wednesday, but it was so messed up that QMK completely refused to compile anything. So we will have to clean it up and then try to compile and compare how does it looks like when you compile on the machine and when you compile with the MCs like locally on Windows. That might be interesting. Also, if you would like to see like a separate episode on how to set up this thing, just drop a comment and I think I will be able to prepare either like a document of some sort or maybe like a short video or maybe even a short, because there's not much really that you need to do to get it running. Also, I don't think that you need like a super new machine to have this running. Even some older hardware should still be able to virtualize such a machine like this. So should be available to the most of the users out there. Okay, so it finished. Let's hit restart. I think it will complain about the ISO that it needs to be removed. But I think at the same time, yeah, please remove the installation medium from and press enter. Okay, I think it removed it itself. If we check media, DVD, it's empty. So I'll just hit enter. Okay, a lot of errors. Just reboot already. I think I will help it. Okay, and we are in. So this is just the welcome screen. We can just keep everything here. We don't want to share any data. And we finish this. Okay, so this is like the basic system. What we need to do now is to head over and search for Ubuntu Samba config. And I think there was yes, this site. So this is like a guide from Ubuntu, and it shows you how to set up Samba. Samba is a sharing daemon, you can call it. So you can share files from the system, and then you can access from Windows or from other like systems like Linux and OS X. Okay, so it's showing us what steps we need to do. So we should start with the sudo apt update. So sudo is a command that will allow you to execute the next one with the root privileges. So what we need to do now, we should select these are the apps, type in terminal, and just type the command from the manual. So sudo apt is a packet manager, so it's responsible for installing and removing software from the system. So first we need to update its database, and it's gonna ask for the password, so we just type in QMK. It's gonna do its thing. Okay, so it finished. Next one is sudo apt install Samba. So I guess this doesn't need any explanation. And we hit enter. And then we hit yes, whatever it wants to do, just let it do its thing. Finished. Okay, so one more thing. There is like a check that you can do if the Samba was installed properly. So what we can type in now is where is Samba? And we hit enter, and it will show us all the paths in the system where the Samba is located. So the next step is to set up the folder that we would like to share. So over here, it suggests like home, username, Samba share. But for us, since we want to share the folder with the QMK, if you go to files, if you go home, okay, I think first we need to install QMK, yes, before the Samba is configured. So we need to install QMK. So we need to have the folder here. So let's just quickly go to QMK. QMK is also quite easy to install, especially on Linux. So we just hit setup, and all the steps needed are here. We just choose Linux, WSL. WSL is a subsystem for Windows, and it shows us which commands we need to type in. So we are still in the console over here. So I will just type in sudo apt install -y will just send yes to any question that the installer might have. So we don't have to type yes every time. So we're gonna be needing git and Python 3-pip. We hit enter, so we don't have to type yes every time now. So the next step will be to use Python and just install QMK. So that's what we're gonna do now. So we just type python 3 -m, which stands for module, if I'm correct, pip install -- user QMK, and we hit enter. And there is an error. Apparently Debian and the other Linux distributions, they decided that most of the packages should be installed with the virtual environment. But since we will be only using this for QMK, there will be no other packages from Python. So what we can do, we can just add this command at the end. So this will force the installation without the virtual environment. And it goes. Okay, so one more thing. There is this message over here that the QMK path or QMK location is not in the path. So the path is like a system variable that system is asking, like for example, if we type like a command, the system will check this path. There are different paths inside this variable, and it will search within those paths where this command is located. So since QMK is not add to this command, to this variable, I think we can output it like this, echo path. Yeah, so it looks like this. These are like the different locations where the system will look for commands. And as you can see, QMK is not on the list. So what we can do, we can type export path. I think it was equals. Then we have to add the old path. I think it was also, let's quickly check how to add. Okay, Stack Overflow. Okay, so I was right. So export path, then we type in $sign and path. So the $sign will kind of make the system use whatever is under this variable. Then we have a column. Okay, path. Oh, sorry. So it's gonna be home QMK. Is it already installed? Oh no, sorry. So before, there's one more step, because it complains already that the variable is not here. Well, we can add it. We can add it now. So we can do type export path equals path, and it's gonna be home QMK and QMK firmware, because that's where the QMK will be installed. So the next step is we can run QMK setup, which is here. It's a convenient way. You can just copy the command and paste QMK and setup. And what's that? Okay, it doesn't know QMK. Did it even install? Okay, so we have added this. Everything else should be installed, but somehow QMK is not here. Let's check the path again. Okay, so we have this set up. So we have Python. Okay, I think I skipped the command to install the QMK, or have I? No, okay, it's here. Okay, so this should be break system packages. This should work. So this is installed already. Okay. So QMK setup should be available, but it's not. Maybe if I restart the terminal. QMK setup. Does it work? It doesn't work. Oh, that's interesting. It worked on Wednesday. Okay, so there is one more thing, like a message. What we need to do, there is a bug in the Debian Linux. So what we need to do, just type this command. Okay, one more thing. If we want to have a functioning clipboard, what we need to do, we have to shut down the machine. We can do it like this, just turn it off. Then we go to settings. For the checkpoints, actually we can skip the automatic ones. We don't really need that. And then in the integration services, so back again, the checkpoints, this is use automatic checkpoints, we can skip that. And with the integration, we need to select guest services. Apply, okay. We can start the machine. Okay, so we are back. Let's copy this one. Let's open the terminal. So actually QMK is there. If we just type list, we have to type -a if and QMK. Okay, so it should be ls-a .local. I think QMK is here. The command is there most probably. So let's just check bin. Yeah, so as you can see, the QMK command is here. So now we just clipboard should work already, but it doesn't. Okay, I think I would just type it. Without wasting time. Local bin path. I hope I didn't miss anything. Echo path home local bin path. So this will just add bash rc. Okay. So now QMK setup should work. Yes, it works. So it says that it couldn't find QMK firmware, and where would you like to clone it? So we can just set up, use the default folder and just type yes. It's gonna take a while cloning from Git and then fetching additional stuff. I'm a bit surprised that the clipboard doesn't work with those guest additions. It should work. But luckily there wasn't much to type, so it's not that bad. At least you get to use our Ergo keyboards. So if everything goes well, the last step is to just compile one of the default keyboards. And I hope it will work. About to find out. Okay, there is some more stuff to install. We just say yes. And we need to type in the password. That's fine. I will just clean my glasses. I can't see shit. Much better. And it finished. How nice. So the last thing to do is to check the installation, if it compiles or not. So let's just do QMK, compile, and we do keyboard glue port 66 revision 3. and the layout will be default. Okay. And it's done. So just to compare, let's fire up MSys. This window is okay. Now I can move it. Let's make it smaller. And it's gone. QMK. So let's do the same. QMK, compile, was KB to port 66, revision 3. And the layout was default. Okay, and let's see how long it's gonna take. Don't mind the errors, it still should go. Well, it's gonna take a long time. I also think this QMK on this machine on MSys is kind of old already. So maybe that's why it's complaining. But still, I don't think it should affect the speed. Okay, so look how long it takes. I know. Let's do head to head. Okay, we cancel this one. It would be funny if before I even press enter on MSys, it's gonna finish. And here, okay. Okay, this one. So I have to, let's clean it. Let's do QMK clean. Okay, let's allow MSys to recover. Oh, come on. It not only slowly compiles, but also slowly recovers from any break. And let's just, can I clean console? I can't. Oh, doesn't matter. Okay. QMK. Let's do default. And this one here. Okay, let's give it like a head start. Okay, there it goes. And VM finished. And MSys haven't even started yet. So yeah, I guess it's worth the time and the effort to just have it running. Yeah, I'm slow. In one MSys compilation, you can fit like 5 maybe, or maybe even more from the virtual machine. Still compiling. Okay, so I guess you can agree that it's worth it. Okay, finished. So it really took a while. Okay, so we know that it works, it compiles, everything is fine. The issue might be that you can't really make the window bigger because the graphics driver can't really understand like what's happening. So we'll be stick to this. But that's not an issue really because we won't be doing much anyway. So let's get back to our Samba. So the tutorial says that we need to have a folder that we will be sharing, but we already have it. If we go to our virtual machine, we can open the home folder and QMK firmware is here. So for us, if we do like a list, so this is our QMK folder, and on Linux, the user folders are located in home and then username. So for us to be home QMK and then underscore the QMK underscore firmware. So the folder is already here. What we need to do next, we have to use Nano, which is like a editor, text editor. Let's do that. Maybe I can move it. Okay, so it says that we need to do sudo nano etc samba. So this etc is usually like config files. So as smb, and what we can do is just hit tab, and the terminal should autocomplete if the path is like just one. So if it was like ambiguous, there was like some other file name similarly, then it will show both options. But since there's only one file, we can just hit enter. And the tutorial says that at the bottom of the file, we have to add the following lines. So let's go to the bottom of the file. Okay. So here, this name will be the name of the share. So we can do QMK firmware. Then we can just put a comment like QMK is enough. Then we put the path. So for us will be QMK. Our username is QMK. And then the folder is QMK underscore firmware. Then read only we do no. And browsable we do yes. And now if you want to write this file, we have to press Ctrl and O. Actually, it says here write out. So this dash and O means it's a Ctrl and O. So let's do that. And it's asking the name of the file. We just hit enter, it wrote, and then we can press Ctrl and X to exit. Okay, so the next thing the tutorial mentioned is to restart the Samba service. So we can do that. We just type in sudo service smbd, stands for Samba daemon. Daemon is something that works in the background, something like in Windows, you have those like services. So smbd and then restart. We hit enter. Okay. And the last thing, we need to add exception to the firewall. So we do sudo ufw allow Samba. Okay. And it's done. So the next thing, I think it should work already. Okay, so the next thing is to get okay, so we still have to set up a username, because yes, it mentions here that Samba doesn't use the system accounts and passwords, so we need to set up Samba password for our account. So we can do that. Sudo sm. We can just type a few letters and just hit tab, and it will autocomplete. So we can just do username. So this will be our username, which is QMK, because it says that the username used must belong to a system account, else it won't save. So okay, we just hit enter, a new password. Hey, let's do the same like the system, QMK. QMK. Okay, since it's local anyway. And that's almost it. So the next thing is to just connect the share in Windows. But before that, we need to find out what is the IP address. So on Linux, we can use if config, but here it's not available. And it says that we need to install nettools. So we can do that. apt install nettools. We hit enter. And now our if config should be available. Okay. What we are interested in is this part, the inet address. So now what we can do, we just open the file explorer. Over here, we can select map network drive. A window will pop up. Let's choose a letter. I already have QMK here, so I will just use maybe, let's say P. And now we have to do // type in this IP address that we have over there. So 172.24.190.160, and then QMK firmware. We do reconnect, and I think we should use different credentials. Let's hit finish. It will be QMK and QMK. Remember my credentials. And bam, there we are. So this is our folder shared from virtual machine. And as you can see, we also have the hex file for the clue board that we just compiled. So that's great. We know we have access. We can also remove it if we hit delete, and it's gone. Okay, so that's one thing. There is one more step that we need to do, because in order to compile it, we have to upload our source to the virtual machine. So doing this manually every time by using the Windows Explorer is gonna be difficult. So what we can do, we can use Visual Studio Code, and we can do a task. So once we are here, maybe let's open new folder so we can create new task. Let's just go over here. Let's go Chordie, select. Okay, so what we can do, we can click here and run task, show all tasks. There should be like if you hit Control, okay, no build, because the shortcut will be Control-Shift-B. So I guess we need to have a build task. So run command, Control-Shift-B. Run build task. Okay, so we can just type in build and task, run build task, and it shows the shortcut, which is Control-Shift-B. So we can use that. Again, build. And we can hit here configure. What else? Just a key binding. Okay, let's do a quick check. Visual Studio task. We need to Visual Studio Code. Let's do custom task. One more time. We add configuration, extension, nothing that really interested us. Okay, so we just hit Ctrl+Shift+B. We can click here and create task. And I think we should use others. Yes. So this will help us to send the code. Every time we want to compile, we just hit Ctrl+Shift+B, and then it will do everything for us. So the configuration looks more or less like this. I already have it set up. So I will just go. So my task JSON looks like this. The version I think should be kept unchanged. We can keep the label. So over here, it says the type. It's gonna be shell command, and then we can have different command for different operating system. So here I have for Windows, I have command which is QMK send bat, which I have somewhere in the system. I will show you soon. Then if you are on OS X, I have a different command that is also somewhere in the path. And over here we have some additional stuff like presentation if you want to echo the output from the command and so forth. So these are just for the preference. We can just copy paste everything. So I will do that. I forgot that I'm using Vim to make things easier on me. So if I want to yank it, so I think I have to do like this, star and yank. I wonder what happened. Okay, so let's check the other window. So we can just remove everything here. And if we do, oh, I just copied everything back. Let's do undo. I will just do it quickly, copy and paste. I think I need to use the visual mode. I'm very new to Vim as well. So we can leave it like that. The one more thing that we need to do is our command that will be executed. So obviously this is not like a part of the system. It's something that we have to write ourselves. So I keep this command in on my cloud, and the command looks more or less like this. We can skip this part because this is for the, maybe I can just copy it and remove the unused part. Let's rename this to alt because back then I had MSys. So I will just skip that. We won't be using MSys anymore. And just a quick edit. So I can remove this and I can remove this as well. So what it does, this is the different letter. What letter I used? P, if I remember correctly. Yes, the P. So let's just change this here. So what we need to do, we keep our code in a folder somewhere. So as you can see, I have a folder called kbj on my cloud. So if we go here and I have it, so this defines where the source code is, and this is just a cleanup. So once we upload our folder with the source code and we compile, so then next time I will just clean the whole thing and copy it again. So this is the cleaning part and this is the copy part. And if you, for example, using OneDrive, then you will have a variable in the system defined like this. So if you echo this, and let me quickly spin a terminal. So if you do echo and the name is OneDrive, we hit enter. Is it correct? Maybe just one. No. Ah, this is PowerShell. So we need a command prompt like this. Okay, so now we can do OneDrive like this, and this will show us like the path where the OneDrive is. So if we go to OneDrive like this, it's, for me it's C, OneDrive, and then I go dev, source, and QMK, and this is the folder with all my source code. So I will just copy it to this shared folder from Samba. So this is the copy part from development, source, QMK, KBJ. Then we go to P, keyboards, because if we open the keyboards, the QMK firmware, it's just like the keyboard. So it will paste everything over here. And these are just the switches to skip all the, like if there's something over there, or for example, we can do xcopy. What are those parameters? So I am using /e, which stands for copies directories and subdirectories, including empty ones. Then we have /y. I think this is for to skip all the questions. Oh, where is it? Okay, -y. Yes, causes prompting to confirm you want to overwrite an existing destination file. Well, this shouldn't happen because we remove everything before the copy, so but just like a precaution. And the last one is /i. If destination does not exist and copying more than one file assumes that destination must be a directory. Yeah, so this should like create a directory if it doesn't exist. Okay, so we have this done. And one more thing, because this command, even though it's somewhere in the system, the system doesn't really know how to find it. So what we need to do, we have to right-click the Windows logo, then select System, and we end up here. And from here, we should do Advanced System Settings. Another window will pop up, and there we go, Environment Variables. And from here, I already put QMK remote, but that's this one not important. I'm not really using it. And I should have somewhere this path to my code. Okay, it's not here. This is temp, or maybe I just copied. One more time. Well, what we can do anyway, we can just add a new one, and we have to go to the place where our command is saved. So for me, it's gonna be OneDrive, the source bat, and I can just copy this here and paste. So now when I type this command, or when even Visual Studio will look for it, the system should be able to find whatever is in this folder. So it won't be only, we just confirm. So it will be like all of these commands should be available. Okay, we can close all of that. So this command is finished. So we can close that. Our task is done. So we are in the Chordie folder. So let's see what happens. So if I press Ctrl+Shift+B, okay, it's copying something. Let's check if it really copied where it's supposed to. Maybe the file is like somewhere else. Let's go keyboards, and okay. So the whole thing was copied over here. Yeah, so basically this is how it works. This is how I do it. It's not much work, and as you can see, the speed is like quite nice compared to like MSys. So I think it's worth it to put some more effort and just to have it set up. And then even if you want to update QMK, you don't really have to worry about anything, because all of your sources are like in a different place, and every time you edit something, you will just copy and that's it. So you can even have it on a cloud or somewhere. Don't really have to worry about backups or anything. Okay, so we have this set up. So let's try and compile this. So we have to go back to our virtual machine. Okay, let's just switch off the sleep. Let's go display, and no, I think it's power. Okay, a screen blank. Let's just switch it to never, so we won't have to type the password. Yeah, and one more thing is that once you upload the source code, you have to type the command to compile over here. So for me, it will be QMK compile. The keyboard is, the path will be KBJ Chordie, and the layout will be, if I remember correctly, KBJ. Yeah, so it's compiling. And it's done. Compared to what we had on Wednesday, it's super fast, almost instant. Yeah, so I'm very happy about that. That is a very good solution to our problem. Okay, but the real problem that we have today is this Bootmagic that doesn't seem to respond. So my theory from Wednesday was that since it's a custom engine, so most probably it doesn't really support all those features. And to try that, to figure out if it's true, what we can do over here in key maps, I have a default key map. So this is like a very basic key map. It's just QMK, no custom engines or anything like that, just one layer, all the basic keys. I hope it's still up to date with all those keys that I have. Just quick check, because key map C, let's compare with the most recent one. I think I need to take a look at the JSON. Okay, so I think I have added some keys. Okay, that's the one. Oh no, everything. Yeah, all the keys are the same, more or less. So it's quite recent. So that's the default key map. And that's the newest one. So yeah, everything is okay. So what we need to do, because I have this QK boot is a key that will put our keyboard into DFU mode. And I don't want to have it here because I want to use one of those keys as a Bootmagic key. So I will just change it. Let's do KC, for example, 1. And if I remove this and I do boot, okay, so I can have this boot key as a second one, because what I wanted to do, I wanted to use either the topmost left or topmost right. So that will be 1 or F4. So this way, even if it doesn't work, I will still know if it outputs like 1. And if I had a boot command over here, I won't be able to tell if the command comes from the Bootmagic or is it comes from the key itself. So let's just save that. And then we need to upload. So Ctrl-Shift-B. Okay. And then now back to our virtual machine. We compile again, but we compile the default. Typo. Okay, there are some errors. We will look into it later. So what I can do now, I can show you a piece of the workbench. Oh, there's an error. Okay, what happened? Yeah, right, because there is no mouse support. This is like very basic. So I think I will just clean up rules. So let's remove this. Let's leave the Bootmagic. All those things should remain. And then in the JSON file, we're not okay. We have to remove pointing device because there is no support on the default one. Okay, let's just copy this and see if it compiles this time. Okay, there is one more error. Okay, so we still try to set up the pointing device. Where's the error? Chordie C. So that's not a problem. Well, technically, I could just put it in a if and block. It seems like it's just one. I will just leave it like that. Okay, just copy again. And we try compile. And do we have an error or do we have a file? Yes, okay, success. So now I will have to prepare the keyboard. I will just connect. Sorry about that. Too much talking, too little work. Okay, so I'll just plug this back in. Let's go back. Okay, and the cable is here. So now in order to flash, we have to use the QMK toolbox. In case you were wondering where can you get it. So sorry, this was supposed to mute the mic. It doesn't seem to be working. So the QMK toolbox, if you just type in QMK toolbox, I think they have a page. Yeah, so you just hit install for Windows and it will just download and you can run it from there. So I already have it. And it looks like this. I see that those blue spots from Windows Power Toys, they also give up. I'll just quickly switch them off. Okay. So there will be no highlighting for now where I click, but it should be visible anyway. So what we need to do is to show where the file is located. We just choose, oh, actually no, sorry, this only works for AVR, so we will have to copy it manually. So we will just go to the QMK firmware. Our firmware is here, the default one. So I will just enter the DFU mode and it should pop up. Is it on? Okay, it's not working. Okay, so our RP2040 is here. So we just right click and send to 2040. Okay, so it's done now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna check if we really have this default firmware. Let's do just a quick check. How did the layout look like? So okay, we have boot QC1. Okay, so let's just go over here. So if I press Okay, so it works. So this key as defined is just 1. So let's check our Bootmagic. How was it defined? So we know it was enabled. I think it was complaining that we have it defined both in rules and in JSON. So I guess I will just remove it here. Okay. And in JSON file, Bootmagic is true. Okay, so I need to recompile. Let's go back to our VM, compile again. Oh, damn, it's so fast now. All right. So if you want to go back to the DFU mode, so the key map looks like this. So the second key, this one should bring us back to the programming mode. So we are here, and let's just press this button. Yes, it works. So that's nice. I'm gonna send it. Okay, it uploaded. Okay, so just like a quick check, I forgot to check which keys were defined. I think that was 0, 0. Oh no, 0, 7. So I think it was one of the keys on the at the edge. Okay, so let's just open File Explorer. And if I don't like that, it's not really opened fully. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna hold the key and plug the keyboard in. And if it works, then we should enter the programming mode. Okay, nothing happened. And still nothing. So that's not an issue with the coding engine. That's an issue with my code. And that is not good. So I guess we'll have to open the HID listen again and see what happens on the keyboard. But recently, yeah, because both keyboards have debug enabled, and that is not good. So maybe before I will just remove the debug mode from the one that I'm using now. Just quick change. And the keyboard name is dbd. Where are we? It's here. So let's go JSON. Okay, this is command false. Console false. Don't need to change anything else. So I'm gonna save that. And the rules MK, there's nothing here. All right, so let's just upload the whole thing. So what I'm uploading now, it's the whole folder. It's not just one keyboard, it's the whole source code. So even the stuff that I haven't even changed, everything is uploaded. As far as I remember, I think we can just copy files that were changed. So we can skip deletion and just copy those few files. But it's so fast anyway, and you know, it's easier like that, just in case we run into any issues. Okay, so back to our machine. So we're gonna change it. Keyboard name is dbd, and the layout was, I think, dbd. A quick check. Yes, dbd. Yeah, was it really? Oh no, default. So I'll just keep it default. If it compiles. Okay. So this one is still on AVR. And I guess I can show you how to use the QMK toolbox to do that. So we will just start the toolbox. We can open the file that was compiled, the firmware file. So it's on our network drive. This PC and QMK firmware and just by modification. So this is our file. We just open it. And the next thing that we can do is to select the auto flash. Just hit. And now for me, on my keyboard, I have the leader key and B, and this will force it into programming mode. I will just do that, and it should pop up shortly. Yep. Okay, flash complete. So let's take a look. Okay, so HID listen can't really see anything. Let's disconnect Chordie. Plug it back in. Does it have any output? Yeah. Okay. So the key that we were interested in was this one, or maybe this one, whichever is close. So this, it shows its key number 7. So the row number is 0, it's 7. And those keys are like count from 0. So basically, it should work. Let's go back to our Chordie source code. So we are here. So Bootmagic row and Bootmagic column. This should work. It's rather simple stuff. Our rules, MK is clean, so we don't have to change anything here. We have Bootmagic in JSON, Bootmagic true. Okay, what we can do, I think we can go back to our virtual machine, and over here we can check what was the output, because QMK will generate those rules MK files from the JSON file, and we can see what it did. Just we need to find the correct folder. I wouldn't be surprised if it's hidden. I mean, let's do LSA. Where are we? QMK firmware. Okay. Yeah, there is a .build. Let's check this one. What do we have here? Okay, so these are the files already compiled. So no, that's not what we are looking for. Okay, what do we have here? So maybe if you go data, And what if I do like a search? So if I go out and if I do find users home QMK and QMK firmware, and we look for rules, definitely Linux is not my strong suit. So it found all of these. If we can just sort somehow, let's see what are the options. Looks like both streams are running today. On Wednesday, I forgot to hit go live on YouTube, and there's only like 2 hours of live stream, so I had to re-upload the rest of the stream. Got a bit messy. If we search like that, rules MK. I think we can sort by the modified time. Nope, not the one that I'm looking for. Maybe if I go to the folder where the keyboard is located. Do we have any hidden folders here? Oh, doesn't look like. Visual Studio Code only. Okay, so things are getting complicated. Let's read the manual again. Maybe I missed something. Bootmagic. Okay, so what do we have here? So in the rules, Bootmagic enable. Okay, by default, it's 00. So we should be good. The question is, which key is actually 00 for us? And I think it was one of the encoders, but I'm not quite sure at this moment which one was 0. No, definitely not this one. This one is F. This one not. Okay. We're moving the other way. Let's go back with the keys. Okay, so this is A, this is 7. Hmm. One more try. No, it doesn't show up as ready to program. I wonder if this might do something with the fact that it's like connected through some USB hub. But since it can do like a flash, so it should be able to enter Bootmagic as well. I'm not quite sure. Hmm. Okay, so this one also has Bootmagic enabled. So let's check if we can trigger it on here. So the rules MK. So I don't have Bootmagic defined here, but it's set up over here, Bootmagic true. So if we go to config file, so Bootmagic row is 0 and column is 6. So I think we have to look at this. So it should be this key. So it's Q if I'm right. Okay. I will just open the toolbox, give it a shot. No. Okay. Oh no, so it was escape. So it works. So that's not an issue with the USB hub. But since it was number 6 or number 7, number 6, column 6. So if you go here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it's, yeah, so it's escape key. And the row number 0. Okay, so this works. So if we look at Chordie, so screen disconnections. Is the stream on? Yeah. Okay. Not sure what's happening. Okay, so Bootmagic is true. So just like in the previous one, if we take a look, is there like anything else that is enabled that we don't have? Command false, console true, extra key, mouse key, NRKO and pointing device. extra key we also have enabled. Okay, arrow. I don't think this is important. Let's take a look one more time. Bootmagic is on. Command is false. Console, no, this is Chordie, so this is true for us. Extra key is enabled for both. Mouse key, it's false for both, so okay. And KRO, I don't think it makes a difference. And also, we don't really need the leader key because it's like defined on the engine. But since you are not using it here, but does the manual says anything about having a leader key? No. Yeah, so what we need to do is to just hold the key, and it worked on this keyboard. Split keyboards don't really bother us because the splits are custom, and we're not gonna program this. And then magic key codes. I'll check that. Okay, so these magic key codes, so that's one of them I think I'm using in the default layout to enter the programming mode, so that's fine. What is that? Magic key and recall. Okay, so we can change some things that usually required like full recompilation and upload. So now we can do it while the keyboard is running and don't need to do anything more. That's cool. I think I missed that feature. I wasn't aware of it. But that's not what we are looking for. So everything should work. Config.h. Yeah, so the file is correct as well. Maybe I have it like defined more than once. Why is it not searching? This NeoVim is kind of finicky. Okay, so it's case sensitive. Okay, so it's not finicky. So it's just me. Okay, so we have Bootmagic here. And Bootmagic here. So these are only these two. So it's not redefined anywhere else. I have console enabled here as well. I will just, I mean, it doesn't really change anything. But let's just keep it clean. I think it's already enabled in the JSON file. Yeah, console true. So just leave it like that. Okay, so this looks okay. Matrix we don't really need to touch. Row and column. Or maybe I just got it wrong. So if it's 7th key, so that's R1. Yeah, so should be this one. So it should be the last one. Should be this key, exactly. Because this is the encoder over here. Or maybe Bootmagic only works on AVR. But there is no mention. Maybe if we just do a quick search, we spend 2 days instead of doing like a Google query. Bootmagic on ARM. Or maybe to be more specific, RP2040. What's that? How to flash. Okay, so this is like a general guide. Okay, the boot. Oh, so that's not what we are looking for. This in QMK. Bootmagic is like a different doc. No, it's the same one. Okay, what we can do, maybe we can find some other keyboards in the directory. We just need to open QMK. Like the whole keyboards folder. Over here, and we go into keyboards. Let's say we trust, and we can do search. Finding files. And what we want to do is Bootmagic. Oh, okay, so we have some keyboards. What is the CPU for this one? Freya. Version. Okay, let's try some other one. This is at Mega, so no. Another at Mega. Does it mean there is no keyboard with Bootmagic and RP2040? So that's odd. So I think this one I can close. Okay, so that's a different one. That's Chordie. Yeah, so the processor name is RP2040. Basically, if I search for both, is it gonna find both or it won't find anything? Did I get it right? 2040. Okay, so oh come on, really? No results? This one's also case sensitive. I guess the Vim makes it, because usually by default in Visual Studio it wasn't case sensitive search. So what do we have here? Okay, we have Bootmagic and we have our CPU as well, which is 2040. So what is the name of this keyboard? It's a Macropad. Adafruit Macropad. Okay, so let's give it a check and find out which keys are assigned to the Bootmagic feature. Open folder and we can go to keyboards. Is there like a folder Adafruit? Yes, there is. And there's a Macropad. Okay, so let's open the folder. What do we have here? So we have our rules. Okay, there's nothing here. Config, our keyboard JSON. So it's 2040, exactly like us. And Bootmagic is enabled. This is config again, config H. Okay, so there should be Bootmagic somewhere over here. Is it in keymap? Oh, okay, no, because it's by default is 00. So you don't have to really specify that. And it will work. So that's not good. Maybe you can find something else, maybe like a full keyboard. But usually I guess most people would just default to 00. Yeah, we have Bootmagic as well, RP2040. Andean Condor. Okay, let's give it a shot. Oh, it's here. Okay, easy to find. Not much stuff. So I guess this one also defaults to 0, 0. Yeah, looks like it. Not good, not good at all. I wonder if bastard keep defaults to something else. Okay, he also has Bootmagic, dilemma. Okay, give it a shot. Maybe we can open the whole folder. He has quite a lot of keyboards, quite cool, most of them. Ascot is kind of nice. I've made one keyboard that was kind of similar to it. It's very cool. And typing is, I mean, the sound, because the chassis is not really blocked, so the sound can go out. So the keyboard is not that loud. A very nice experience. Oh, he has a lot of stuff. Guy been busy. Okay, so skeletal, Scylla. Okay, 2040 and Bootmagic. And what do we have in config? So also defaults 0, 0. And this, I guess it's for, you can enter DFU mode with just the switch, like the old way, like with the AVR, you can just double press. Okay, so that's kind of problematic at the moment. The only thing that we don't have enabled was this. I don't think it makes a difference at all, especially when Chordie is not really using that. Copy. So QMK, compile, keyboard, KBJ Chordie, and the layout is gonna be default. Okay, what's that? No such file directory. Find QMK firmware. Okay, I think it was like an old window. Maybe it didn't really load all the variables yet. Here, should work. All right. Oh, we won't be needing toolbox anymore. Just stick to the file explorer. So that's the most recent firmware. Okay, so if I press this button, it should enter DFU, yes. Upload it. Well, the keyboard is not really responding, but I can't see the file, I mean the drive for it. That's kind of odd. So something is happening, just that it doesn't go through. That is interesting, very interesting. Hmm. Yeah, so the seventh key is R1. That should be the last key, but it doesn't work. And if we just check, let's reboot again. Okay, so the trackball doesn't work because this is a different layout. This one doesn't have a pointing device enabled, but the keyboard is responding. Yeah, so the key is here, it's number 7. Yet it doesn't work. Slowly running out of ideas how to deal with this. Also makes me wonder why there is an error when we plug it in. Connection error. There shouldn't be any error actually. Yeah, so the output from the debug, sometimes it's not full, so we only got this like part of the text connection error, but we don't really know which part was it. I don't really see why it shouldn't work. Basically, it's rather simple stuff and seems to be configured properly. I wonder if there is maybe some post magic RP 2040 not working. Anyone had an issue? Oh, even Google has an answer. What is this BS? Make Bootmagic. I didn't make a typo. Bootmagic row and Bootmagic column. I think it's okay. That would be funny. Define Bootmagic row. Define Bootmagic column. Yeah, looks about right. Yep, no error here. Well, I'm kind of stuck. I wonder if I just use one site. I wonder what happens. Yeah, it's just an error. And it's back online. So it doesn't really boot into programming mode. That is not good. Do we have any other key maybe that we can use? Except for 7. Besides, what is actually this key? If we put it here, what's that? Okay, F4. So that's not that bad. I mean, if it was like a function key, but shouldn't really make a difference anyway. Okay, now I press the programming key. Back again. Makes me wonder if maybe I've made a mistake when I was reading from the expanders. So let's go with the default. Let's do 0. Let's just save it. It's just a quick look at the keys. Okay. At least the compilation is fast this time. If I was about to do it on MSys, oh, I would take a long while. What are those errors at the beginning? Well, it doesn't really apply because it's not really the default. It's not being read the same way. It's only complaining about the layout. Okay, so that's not important. Yeah, and it's compiling Bootmagic. Okay, so let's just go into programming mode. Okay, one more try. And still nothing. Nope, doesn't respond at all. Okay, I guess I'm gonna cut it short today. Besides, it's already over 2 hours and the stream is marked as a 2-hour stream. I need to take a deeper look at it or maybe try some help at the Discord. Maybe someone had this issue. Maybe I will just try like a single board with ARM, RP2040, and try to use Bootmagic on just like a one key. That maybe will help. But I guess for today, that will be it. I think so. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. I hope this trick with the virtual machine will come handy in case you ever need to compile QMK on Windows especially. As you can see on Linux and on OS X, it's quite fast. So it's only the issue with the MSys. I hope this will come handy. And in terms of this firmware today, I will try to do it off stream. And I will share with you on Monday what were my findings. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I will find nothing. And that will be very sad. Well, on the other hand, it's not that bad because still on the ARM I'm having those issues with the keyboard like crashing after a while, and the recording firmware, I mean the coding engine is not written by me, and it's quite complicated actually. So I guess anyway I would still have to go back to AVR, back to basics. Okay, anyway, we'll see how it goes. I will try to figure it out over the weekend. And if it doesn't work, then, I mean, we still have to go back to AVR anyway. Unless I will be able to figure out, and then maybe we can also try to debug the engine, what's happening. But most probably that would be very difficult to figure out. And the fully right, it's not a thing that will happen anytime soon. So yeah. Thank you for joining today. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. Tune in on Monday for more errors, broken keyboards, broken compilations and stuff. And have a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.